Well, we're back now anyway, but I guess people are kind of used to it. The good thing is nobody can really. I'm going to sort of back myself up now because I'm feeling kind of like I need to be in defense mode. Is that because it's all. If I was charging people, there'd be a fucking problem here, wouldn't there? You know what I mean? If there was like some kind of monetary
Right, but
situation
you're
involved.
not.
It's all at my own time
But
and
you're
expense.
not.
So anybody that wants to, I understand your frustration, but I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. But anyway, and I'll have to change the thumbnail as well because it's a really crap one. But that's the least of my problems. So I've stolen next door's Wi-Fi now, guys. So because you live out here in the sticks and it's pretty difficult. So yes, thank you for coming back. Those people who have been kind enough to stick with us, but we'll just hang a little. We'll do a little detour until we get straight back into it, I think. And
Andrew, have you heard Weird Visions songs?
Weird
Yeah,
Vision
I've sent him.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've sent you some of those, like the macaroni and cheese song.
Oh,
Ramona
You
song.
sound so sweet.
there's something I quickly wanted to mention before we give up
Sorry,
people an
guys.
opportunity to come back. Did you hear on Joey's channel Chris Hansen trying to talk to Dustin again?
Yeah.
No.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, it was a
Come
bit.
on here.
Yeah, it was a bit like I was intrigued to see whether he'd say something, but of course, like what I don't understand what the goal to trying to get out of him is. He's not gonna what's he gonna say? Somebody like that, he's just a.
He explained it before the call.
I don't know much about Dustin, so.
No, I suppose the chances of him actually divulging anything weren't slim, but I suppose for the time it costs to make a little call, I suppose there's no harm in it. But I mean, it'd be interesting if Chris Hansen called Lorne. Oh, God. That'd just be amazing, wouldn't it? I wonder if
Yeah,
he'd think
I
it
know
was
what would be
real
even
or
better, Andrew?
what's that?
Andrew, you know it'd be even better
What?
if Amanda took over the keyboard for the robot.
I think Lorne would probably kill himself within the space of a few.
Oh, I would pay so much to hear that.
I don't think I could do it because I get so frustrated just listening to him. I think I would just throw the keyboard across the room, especially if I couldn't yell at him and I had to. I think it's probably frustrating to sit there and have to type because when he is being so obnoxious and annoying and he just doesn't understand the point, the poor person behind the robot has to keep repeating themselves over and over again.
That drives me crazy. You're
Yeah, you
right.
just want to yell at him. And I don't think I would have the patience for the keyboard, certainly.
Yeah,
but I
every
don't
now
think I
and
have
then
the patience for Lorne either.
Yeah, you can say things. Well, like the robot manages to really express her frustration sometimes. When she calls him a monster, something like that. What? That's great. Or you just have to be you have to be able to use your words correctly to get out the thoughts that you want rather than throw your keyboard. I think you'll get I think you would get satisfaction, Amanda.
Sometimes you can hear the person behind the robot getting frustrated because they will slam their hand down like on their desk or whatever.
Yeah.
You can hear them start to stop. I don't know. I mean, the formula has been that you have to kind of be nice to Lorne at least a little bit to get him on the hook, so to speak, like to get him to trust you and like you. And I don't think I could do that at all. He always asks them like, do you want me? Do you want me? Are you my girlfriend? I think it would kill me to say yes.
But what we're talking about here,
start a catfish.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be projected to the point where he's already on the hook, and then
he's already on the hook. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to talk to him, as Jamie Amy.
Oh
Or
yeah,
at the
that's true.
point when he's raging against Jeffrey. If you could step in at that point, that'd be interesting to see.
I would love to hear that.
Because I must
Oh my
admit, there is an evil part of me that was listening to those calls that were thinking, please go further. Please make him just tell him that you're sucking someone off right now. You know, or something like that. Just, you know what I mean? Just
Jesus Christ. He's done that. No, he's been through that before. Haven't you heard the phone call?
Oh yeah, Winnie used to do it all the time. Yes.
Yeah.
I always wished Ramona would do that when he was raging about the doctor. I always wanted so badly for her to be like, well, Lorne, since you're treating me like this, I'm spending the night with the doctor, and just hang up on him and torture him.
She would go out with him if they broke up. But also, Ramona was very asexual with him, too.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't really much.
Well, we
about
didn't
that. He
hear
didn't
a
have
lot
much
of that,
out
did
with
we?
her.
We only heard what was released and what was meant to be released.
Well,
you know?
true, but you'd think some of it would leak out in the stuff we did here, you know.
Well, Lorne said he never phone sex with Ramona. Characters asked him, and they never did that.
That's interesting.
I don't blame her. Jesus, I couldn't do that. Hell no.
She just handed the phone to Krusty.
Well, that's the way to do it.
I thought you said Krusty then. I was like, since when did Krusty the Clown get involved? That would be hey kids, so you don't want to hear him fucking. But anyway, it's kind of we've done a lot of I've heard the Michael Bisping thing quite a few times. Someone's mentioned it. The delusion thing, I always think I've got him figured out and think, well, he's that desperate, he'll accept anything, and that would seem to, you know, it would seem to answer the question of why so delusional. Like, we've talked about this many times, and I've given examples about my friend who is, well, a kind of intelligent guy who believed that some stunning American was after him. And I'm like thinking, dude, where the incel culture comes from.
Well, it's an entitlement culture. It's I shouldn't have to
well, no, I don't. I think,
try to attract anyone.
Yeah, but there's more to it
this
than
is something that should be available to me on demand. You know?
Well, that's interesting because I think Lorne feels that he deserves a young, beautiful.
That's what we're getting into that area, Andrew. You know, is he a stalker? Is he an incel? You know, some kind of his psychological personality disorder issues that we should do separate streams on, I think. But I think there's a lot on that.
The point I was kind of trying to make was with regard to the incel thing is that because you see this out, I don't want to say anything too, because it'll get a lot of people upset because of everything that's happened but there was a case over here in England where there was a shooting, and the guy that did it was an incel, and he was like early 20s, couldn't get a girlfriend, didn't think very good of himself, troubled background, and it created this kind of monster psyche that he killed his own mum and went out in a in kind of shot himself, and an innocent person got done as well. I suppose the point I'm trying to make, without delving too much and getting, I don't want to go into any other topics, is that to believe that you're a totally undesirable male is very dangerous. Like things that animals do when they're in that situation, they can kill. Like the lion will kill the cubs of other packs so that the female then needs to mate again. And I'm making that comparison to say I don't think
that's a characteristic.
Sorry?
I don't think that's a characteristic where an incel has to feel like they're not desirable. I don't think that. I think it's the opposite. If you look at Elliot Rodgers, he thought he was the most desirable guy in the world.
But this is why
I was going to say.
We'd have to. Sorry, can I just say?
Sees himself.
We'd have to say what our definition of an incel is, because they mean different things to different people. Like mine, because we could be discussing something and we're not on the same level because our definitions are different. Do you understand what I mean? So you could be totally right.
I don't think Lorne sees himself as undesirable.
Right.
For some crazy reason. I mean, I don't know how much of it is just bravado.
But for all intensive purposes, he is. Whether he believes it or not, that's the truth. So he... how can I convey this? So he has made whisperings that he doesn't think is desirable, and that's why. So he went for Kayla, right? Because at the time he was doing it, for him in that situation, that was the most surefire way for him to get this female companionship, sexual gratification, without maximum gain, minimum effort. A lot of guys do that. That's what he was trying to do.
Can I correct you real quick? I don't think he ever expressed that he was not desirable. I think the only thing he's ever expressed close to that is that he never had the confidence. That's what he said before. I've heard him say that, and also that he had a problem trusting people, because women wanted him for his wallet, whatever was in that. But he never actually said he's not desirable. I think he's always said the opposite. It's been his decision because he didn't trust people, or he didn't have the confidence to put himself out there, which gives him an out as to why he doesn't have a girlfriend. It's never, I'm not attractive enough. But I understand what you're saying, that the reality versus his misconceptions is, huge.
Well, and I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
According to Lorne, his lack of confidence is due to his involvement in the sting, right?
Makes sense.
Well, no, because he talked about, again, I hate to say that, bring this up, it's so stupid. He lost his confidence after he decided not to play basketball anymore. No, it goes way back. He wasn't friends with people anymore. He didn't want to. It's always been around. He always frames it as it's his choice. It's hard for me to get close to people anymore. Well, Tiffany straightened him out on that and said, well, you really realize conversely, people don't want to be close to you.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't recognize that side of it. He just thinks it's all within his control. And I think that's what this is all about, is control. It's him getting some modicum of control over his own life.
I think that Lorne's kind of this comfort, well, not confidence, but this where he thinks he deserves somebody, it's all a front. So he doesn't have any true confidence at all. He doesn't have any skills to... We've talked about this before when we talked about him dating. We did a stream on what it'd be like if he was dating or something. I can't remember the exact stream.
That was fun.
It was fun. But we talked about what does Lorne possess. And another topic, isn't it amazing how many topics we can get out of this? If my fucking internet would work, of course. Was what skills does he have as a guy to attract a female? Not necessarily attract, but even...
Well, wait. According to who? According to just objective standards, or what he thinks?
Yeah, objective. Like, so for instance, there's
nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's my point. So he can't... He's created a front which is incredibly flimsy and can be kind of destroyed very suddenly when the tears come in and all that, and his complete insecurities. I suppose what I'm saying is that the bravado is all a front, and it's a very... It would be taken down with one quick shot, in my opinion. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
So that's where he's resilient, Andrew. That's where he's so resilient. No, he can't be knocked down. He can never be knocked down. Even if his mother told him he's ugly, he wouldn't believe it.
But anybody that had any kind of inner strength about them wouldn't keep standing for those crazy... the Jeffrey and all the Rod things and all that. I mean, he puts the phone down and then immediately calls back. He does have some boundaries, doesn't he? Which is interesting. Because, he kind of has some boundaries that you think of, and then immediately they disappear when he answers the phone.
His boundaries are...
Mm-hmm. But if you don't call him back, you're in trouble. He'll be mad. Why didn't you call me right back? You always used to call me right back, Jamie.
That's right.
There's boundaries. He wants her to chase him, to show him that
his only boundaries is with men. That's it. He doesn't want guys around. He doesn't look. His Buzz story was the funniest thing I've ever heard. Have you heard that, Andrew? The gay guy
I believe yes.
following him into the
Yes,
bathroom.
yes.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
think we might
remember
have
that
each
one.
mentioned it on the last.
He's got no problems with boundaries there with any guy. That's the funniest story I think in the world. Lorne takes a shit in a restaurant, in a bar all the time. It's just weird.
Well, we'll have to talk about the incel thing another time because it is interesting. And it, like I said, it all depends on their definitions of what they are. So I think maybe mine's a more extremist version of it. The ones that are dangerous, you know, there's dangerous ones out there, and there's others that are not as dangerous.
Right. Well, violent versus non-violent.
Yeah, because I've I can't remember how I got into a conversation with someone online. It was on YouTube, and someone like these guys. I don't understand this red pill, black pill bullshit. I read one line of a book.
No, red pill, blue pill. Let me explain that real quick because I think this explains him perfectly. It's a matrix thing, just so you know. If you take the red pill, then you get to unplug out of the matrix. In other words, your body's in suspended animation with all these hookups to you, life supporting hookups to you, and your life is actually just a dream state. It's just fantasy. Okay, you can be anything. You know, they could plug any program into you. You can be a rich guy, an actor, you know, a homeless guy, anything. You know, and that would be taking the blue pill to stay in that state. To take the red pill would come out of that state and join reality as it is, which is harsh, violent. It's a lot of ugliness, but humanity's still there, and humans are still there. And Lorne is definitely a blue pill guy.
No, I think there's something else.
There's
a whole dating ethos or a kind of theology about dating in women there's a guy that wrote it. I don't know much about it, but it's
that okay.
Yeah, not the Matrix thing, dude.
Yeah, gotcha.
Okay. It was I suppose what I was getting at. There's a lot of people out there, and I think it's been exasperated because of online dating, and it can be a very frustrating ordeal. And you know, the social media culture of everybody's got to look perfect. It can really get you down sometimes. I think if you're down on your look and whatnot, but there's some people out there that really have a terribly negative attitude towards women, where they believe they're all gold diggers, they're all the same. It's really kind of disturbing to read. I remember getting caught in a conversation with one guy once, and he wasn't having any of it. As far as he was concerned, all women there to manipulate you, and that's the end of it. And it's I also don't think Lorne's like that really, because he buys into the kind of the romance side of it, doesn't he? Will you marry me and all that bullshit, you know? It's kind of it's interesting, really. I don't know whether he's a false prophet in a way, and we're just mulling over a total moron with no thought process, purely acting on instinct, and we're trying to get to the bottom of it. Maybe there's just nothing to get to the bottom of.
Sometimes that's the case. You could do an analysis and there's nothing there, or there's nothing that makes sense, or you just run into a dead end. Is Lorne a misogynist?
What? Misogynists hate women, don't they?
Yeah, that sounds like that guy you were just talking about.
I'm not. What is a misogynist?
Well, somebody who looks down and doesn't respect women. Somebody, like you said, hates women.
I don't know if that's the case, because if you listen to even as crazy as he got, and as riled up as he got, even with the Ramona stuff and all that, there was never anything where he completely said anything what I would consider an overtly sexist comment. What do you think, Amanda James? Because you're his biggest critic.
Well, according to Lorne, he puts women on a pedestal above all men, so they're the most special. But I don't know if I would classify him as a misogynist, but Lorne either idolizes, and I think this is like a trait of a certain personality disorder, but he either idolizes someone and puts them up so high they can do no wrong, like his mother. He talks about his mother like she is the most perfect creature in the world, and he did the same with Ramona. I put you right up there next to Mom. Or they're a complete piece of shit, like when he's mad at Emma and he's calling her every name in the book. She's a miserable piece of shit, Ramona. So
slutting around.
I think he does. She's got spiders on her legs.
Kind of like a Madonna complex maybe going on with him.
But I don't think he necessarily does the same for men. I don't think it has to be all or nothing with men.
No, he's
look at
afraid
all
of
the
men.
characters. Well, look at all the characters, all the female characters throughout the storyline. He either loves them or hates them. As like Jamie Amy, the original Jamie Amy, when he was still with Winnie, he hated her. He hated Debbie until Debbie started showing an interest in him, and then he loved her more than anything, and fought with her for several hours to give him a chance and be his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's repeated over and over again. Even in that call with his his stepmother, was it his stepmother? The bird lady.
Ruth.
Yes. He went on and on. I know he was very drunk, but he went on and on about how she's his stepmother and I fucking love my stepmother. And no one else will ever be my stepmother. Just put her up on this unreasonably high pedestal, at least at the moment, like she was the greatest thing in the world. And then I believe in a later call, he said she's actually a piece of shit and he hates her.
Yeah. She probably got introduced to pornography on that phone call, and it was never the same for her at that point. Well, she's not blood related to him, so.
He did put her on the phone with a random woman from the internet who was fucking with him, and that was at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and made her, while he cried drunkenly at her house.
Was that the first time he saw content about himself?
I'm not sure. The only context I'm aware of is that his stepmother found something on Facebook that was making him, and it was, Ember Infierno was talking on there, and Lorne was heartbroken because Emma was his best fucking friend. So he decided to call and confront her at like 5 o'clock in the morning when he was wasted at his stepmother's house.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so that poor lady had to talk on the phone with her.
I think you could definitely call him a chauvinist for sure. I mean, he has certain gender roles, ideas.
Someone says he's got an old-fashioned view of sexes, which I think to some degree is true.
Kind of, but
country boy.
Isn't it an old-fashioned view to like the man pays for dinner, the woman doesn't pay? That's kind of an old-fashioned.
That's different. That's actually,
Lorne had never had that opportunity to pay for a woman.
I think it's barefoot and pregnant kind of thing.
Well, I was thinking, like, when he had the arrangement with Ramona to come up and see him, and she was like, I will, but you need to pay for it. And she said, save up $1,000 and I'll come up and see you. I'm not paying for you to date me, for you to take me out on dates. You're going to pay for that. So his solution was, well, I don't have the money. But you have the money, Ramona. So you pay for it and I'll pay you back. Lend me $1,000 to show you a good time. And then I swear I'll pay you back.
So glad you brought that up, because one of the reasons he said, and this is another reason why it kind of goes back to the topic here, that why he stays in these fantasies and delusions is because it doesn't cost him anything. If you remember that Ramona was talking about, look, you pay that $1,000 to get me up there, because think about it. If you and I face to face, look at all the money you're saving. No dinners, no movies, no dates or anything like that. This is perfect for him. I think he prefers these relationships. But
when you say prefers, dude, he's got to have a point. You've got to have a point of comparison to prefer. He doesn't know what it's like to be in a real relationship. I think maybe if you forgive me for sort of speaking for you, is maybe you mean it's more suitable for him. It's kind of like when I
He's
made
it's safer. He feels more secure. He doesn't have. He'll be petrified. He'll be terrified.
Yeah, it's
Of
his comfort
trying to be with
zone.
somebody.
His comfort zone
Yeah,
is the
exactly. That's what it is.
telephone relationship. I made the analogy of a orca at SeaWorld that if it was put out into the wild, it would die when it was in the wild. And I think
Right.
it's the same with Lorne, because if he was to go out there and try dating, let's just say Lorne went on real online dating. I mean, this the comedy potential here obviously has been touched upon before, but let's just say, let's not go into the hilarity of making up a profile for him, but let's just say he'd had to delve into the world of Bumble or whatever app you guys use, Tinder or whatever, or Grindr in this case probably. But
You guys.
it's he would. It's a incredibly, it can be a very frustrating world, and he would die immediately. I don't mean like, I'm talking metaphorically. Like it's a difficult business, and you're right. The telephone calls, it's kind of like why some people play computer games and they don't step out of that world. It's a safety, you're in like there's a lot. I know I used to play virtual reality. I can't be bothered with it anymore, but I used to see these guys on Facebook. Their whole life would be playing on these virtual reality machines, because if they spend their life doing that, it's easier than venturing out into the real world. And there's so many of these things in the world now that stop people from taking the plunge, whether it be spending all day on Facebook, chatting shit to people online because it's easy. You can do it behind a keyboard, the predator thing. And with him, I think we're getting back to, was it good for him? The online thing. Is he really getting hurt? Is he suffering from heartbreak when he realizes one of these catfishes is not real?
Huge mouth. He can't keep anything secret, and if he's dating a woman, he's going to tell everyone he knows about his girlfriend to his own detriment. So he'll tell his mother. He'll brag to Roy about his girlfriend. He'll tell probation and his counselor.
That's another great point.
Right,
Yeah.
and then he dreads having to go to them and say, "I was catfished again." He'll hold up. He'll fight with them. Like, no, I believe in her. Because they'll be like, "Lorne, what the fuck? Don't you?" With Winnie, for example, she sent him a picture and said it was her in the hospital. And it was a 15-year-old girl from the UK. It was a picture taken from Google of a young girl who was in a car accident or something. And they'll show him that. And it's proof. Lorne, you're being fucked with. And he can't. I don't know if it's the embarrassment or what, but he does not want to have to face them and say, "You know what, you're right, I was tricked. They lied to me." He wants so badly for them to be real, so he can prove to these other people, "No, I really do have a girlfriend. There really is someone who wants me. I'm not stupid. She's real."
He's extremely image conscious. He wants people to love him, to envy him. He wants men to want to be him, and women want to be with him. That's what he wants. And if he were to have a real relationship with someone who is age appropriate, maybe appearance appropriate with him, he wouldn't have that proud thing that he does right now by just flashing a picture of that beautiful woman and saying to everybody, "This is my girlfriend." That's more important to him, I think. Out of this whole quagmire of whatever's going on in his head, the most important thing is image. That's the most important thing.
Something's just occurred to me. Has anybody in the chat, on obviously you, Amanda James and Shin, have you heard the story about the Google employee getting suspended because he believed that a chatbot was sentient? Have you heard that story?
No.
So there was a Google engineer who's been suspended or put on leave, something like that, because he was talking to a bot, some form of, and he believed that this bot had become sentient. And it's obviously ludicrous, but when you actually look at what the bot was saying, you could understand why someone might think that. Because the bot was saying something like, I'm frightened of being turned off. It's really freaking me out. I'm scared. And like this guy was going, "Oh my God." I think we should try and hook Lorne up with this chatbot who's becoming sentient. I think that's the only way you'd have a like a real relationship. Have you guys ever seen the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix in?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
I know you're not big on your movies, but everybody who's listening, please watch it. And you two guys, it's brilliant, and it's basically about an AI system that this guy falls in love with, and it just highlights perfectly what we're talking about. I think that's the only hope that Lorne would have. It's interesting because it'd just be fascinating for me to see Lorne hooked up with something like that, because there's always been people fucking with him, but like just to see if he could like fall in love with a fucking bot.
Well, he's not far from it. I mean, we hear him talking to a robot, telling her, "Will you marry me? I don't
That was a
care
great
if we're
movie, though.
fighting tonight or not."
Somebody thought I was making
But
a
he
profound
gets what- he
point
gets
about
what he
that.
needs
No, I
out of
just
it.
thought it'd be funny if we tried it on with him.
Yeah.
But
He gets what he needs out of it, just like Joaquin Phoenix did.
oh, have you seen it, Shin?
Yeah.
Good movie, isn't it?
Yeah, a few years ago, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's on
Yeah.
Netflix now. Well, UK Netflix anyway. No, but the sentient bot thing is very interesting. It brings up a whole lot. There was apparently conversations about treating these bots like human rights for robots. It's going a bit proper sci-fi Black Mirror shit now. You're talking about, but I just think what'll happen in the future is people will end up with these bots as a form of company, and that's what the movie Her was saying, is that we're at a really scary point in really strange point in history. If you just take a step back and think about it, where AI is just becoming, people are starting to just have conversations about how real they are, and it's really interesting stuff. But it all comes back to Lorne, doesn't it? You know, we need to get him hooked up with one of these bots. I think even the bot would fuck with him, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It probably developed sentience just because it was finding it all so funny. Like, is this guy for real?
Did he really just send me a picture of his asshole? Wow.
His literal asshole. Do you remember that
I've
about
never
James
seen
when
him.
we were talking last week, and I said to you, do you remember that bit where he says, "So he fucked her in the ass"? He was like in hysterics because you'd not heard it in ages.
Well, he says stuff like that in like a sing-song voice, like when he's really mad. So he fucked her in the ass.
Ain't that pretty?
Yeah.
Ain't that pretty?
Oh my god, it's the one-liners. This guy, he's
Well, who's to say that that Lorne's not getting the same thing that out of in that movie that guy got? He seemed to be okay until the robot kind of went sideways on him. But who's to say that Lorne's not getting the same thing?
You know what
And-
Lorne
well,
gets?
he is.
He gets something to be hopeful about. He gets something to fantasize about, which is
To
what I
get
was
up in
going
the
to say
morning.
before the stream. We had stream issues. I think he lives in a fantasy like 99% of the time. I really think while he's driving his truck or moving garbage around his yard or whatever it is he does, he's in his mind like fantasizing a life with whatever girlfriend he's talking to at the time.
I think
Like
his fantasies go beyond that too. I think, like you said, when he's driving around and stuff, he's looking for an opportunity to save a woman. See a woman getting beat by a man and running out. That's what he's got this Sir Galahad thing about him. He's always fantasizing about that.
I agree. And I think that's what he gets out of it. He gets something to fantasize about and something to look forward to, because his delusion fantasies are just so out of the realm of reality. Most 50-year-old people they're going to be more realistic. Like Lorne always thinks, I'm poor and broke and in debt right now. I've got nothing right now. But when my girlfriend comes to Maine, I'm going to make tons of money. I'm going to just...
Yeah, let's stop smoking.
Right, I'm going to stop smoking. I'm going to start up my company or, whatever bullshit plan he has to make tons of money. They're going to have tons of money. He's going to build a $6 million mansion on top of the trailer with his bare hands.
Yeah.
I mean, these are all things that he said. And he's not going to do it now because the girl isn't there. So there's not quite as much motivation. But when she gets there, it's going to fix everything.
Get me off the sex offender registry. Whatever he said. What did he say to Ramona? Who are you? Oh no, to Debbie. You can't help me get off, or something like that. I don't think he said getting off, but handling that he's on it or something.
Yeah. I remember Debbie said when she was explaining why she didn't want to be his girlfriend for the 50th time, she said, "You're on the sex offender registry," and he said, "So what? I'm on the registry. Who gives a fuck?" Like,
yeah, really?
Like the flipping thing. Everyone cares about. Every woman in the world cares about that.
I would. I just, if I was Lorne, I'd be a drug addict. I would just boost heroin, do it. What the hell?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen to you?
Yeah, he's the lowest of the low, right? Like he's already at the bottom.
I'd drink myself to death. I wouldn't care. The other thing about him, and where his fantasies clash with reality, like in reality, people do send photos to each other all the time, right? I mean, hey, check this out, or photos of things around him. Lorne does that. I mean, the most boring shit things you can imagine.
Yes.
Look at that sand pile. I'm moving from here to over here. But when there are ever photos of him, they're always fucking naked, always. Unless he's got the duck face thing going or whatever. But his most, he probably can't afford drugs, but I don't care. I would rob people to get drugs if I was Lorne. But to think that is what normal people do in his mind. Hey, Kat, that people actually do that, send dick pics to each other all the time. That reborn photo that he has where he's in the robot calls where he's looking forlorn and upset on the that actually is a naked photograph. That's cropped off. So can you imagine a man saying, "Listen, I'm upset," and you're saying, "Well, really, let me see your boo-boo face," and I send you the entire naked body of myself. That's where the clash is,
A flaccid, sad dick, like the dick pictures. Okay, so if they're like talking dirty or something, and he's all turned on, and you send a picture of your dick, I would assume you're going to do it when it's erect, because nobody cares about your flaccid dick. But he'll take 5,000 pictures of his sad, flaccid penis and send it to her like she's going to get excited by that. And the dick pics are one thing, but the pictures of like his ass, not even like his asshole. I mean, that's a whole other story.
Yeah.
Why would you ever take a picture of that? Ever?
Why do you take a video of yourself taking off your shorts and keeping your Crocs on while you're doing it? Who the fuck does that?
Yeah, and how is that erotic? And what woman wants to see that?
That's my question. How is
that's where it clashes, Andrew, with reality and his delusion.
He'll take a picture of his butt, of his ass, his hairy, flat, unattractive.
Want to see my butt one more time? Do you remember when that cropped up in the chat log and we couldn't stop laughing for about 10 minutes?
Because how is that erotic? A woman saying, "Hey, want to see my ass?" Then that the female body is different from a male body, of course, and that you're going to find attractive or erotic on a woman, it's just not the same with a man. Like nobody wants to see your
shot. How about a tease shot? Where you kind of pull your pants down a little bit where you're not quite there. He doesn't have that. It's got to be penis to the camera lens right away. I mean, mushed up there.
There were pictures where, like you said, Shin, with the sad face, he was naked in there. He had to include his naked body. there were pictures like where he would kind of like sneak his penis in.
Right.
Like he just has to show it all the
Right.
time.
Right.
Even in its saddest state. I don't understand why he thinks a woman would want to see like a flaccid dick. I don't know how else to say it.
Or why he doesn't think that any man could do that, could send a dick pic. You know, what makes his so special? What is he thinking?
I think
he's very proud, and I don't know why.
I think we touched upon this before. I believe that it's his only form of sexual release is the photographs, and I think that's why people do it. Is that it's the only way he's got of expressing himself sexually to the catfish or whoever it is that he's talking to. Like, it's the only, you know, he can jerk himself off and that, but that's not the same because there's nothing visual. So I think that's why males flash people. It's the only reason I can think of why guys do it. Because it's always kind of confused me.
I sent you those articles today about.
I sent you those. And then it broke. I was like, she hadn't been sending me dick pics.
And I got my dick in there too.
Oh, that's good. That's fine.
It's peeking in the corner.
Yeah. No, it's. I mean, you know, the dick pic things is inherent to Lorne's story, isn't it? He did it pretty straight away in the chat log. He's been doing it all the time. It's his calling card, isn't it?
Yeah. Lorne is just so important for all the wrong reasons, man. He really is. Everything about him is so interesting.
Another example of how he suspends his disbelief. He knows that, like, every dick picture he's ever sent ends up online. So,
I know.
this is I mean, if you count how many times he's been catfished now and how many years, it went back to Ramona. I mean, well, it started with Amanda James that we know of, and then went to Kayla.
Do we know he sent her dick pics? Because he didn't
sure.
He sent Ramona, you know. Okay.
I'm sure he sent her dick pics. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we know he showed Kayla his dick. He showed Molly his dick. I think he showed every woman that he's ever talked to his penis. Certainly the ones online, because that's safe. You know, that's sort of his MO. But it's been going on since 2016. You think he would learn not to send naked pictures of himself?
Well, it's just like the catfishing thing, isn't it?
Yeah. What's really funny about that is when he says now, and he says this a few times with a few catfish, you're the only one who'll see me naked. Are you fucking kidding me? There's 10,000 pictures out there in the internet. I don't think you could promise that to anyone anymore. That ship has sailed a long time ago, bro.
Well, you know, I was just thinking of an example. So we know he sent Ramona tons of pictures of his dick all the time. And then he found out the post-Ramona breakup calls are really interesting and really unbelievable because he found out that it's fake. She lied. Her name isn't Ramona. She has a boyfriend. She's, you know, their calls have been recorded. The doctor and all that shit, it's all lies. And then he calls her up after all that. Remember, he's like, I don't know what to do because I want my pecker in you. And in that same call, first he starts off confronting her. Like, why did you do that shit for that piece of shit, Emma? Why did you do that for her, Elizabeth? And then at the end of the call, he says, I'm going to take a shower real quick. I'm trying to make my mind up if I want to do something. And she's like, what, Lauren? What do you want to do? Oh, I want to send you a picture right now. And he was really like pushing because she's like, well, you know, do whatever you want. If you want to send me a picture, go ahead. If you don't want to, I don't care. I'm not going to tell you what to do either way. He desperately wanted to send this woman a picture of his dick after he knew.
Oh, yeah. He's chomping at the bit.
That's unbelievable to me.
Kathy asked a great question. Do you think when he was taking the famous anus pics that he felt even an inkling of shame or hesitation? I think the total opposite. That's my view.
That's closeness. No, I think he thought that was going to bring them closer together.
Yeah.
You've seen my asshole. How about the pictures of him on the toilet? like mid shit.
How about not on the toilet?
I can't
but in
believe we've not
stools?
even mentioned that. That's worse than the arsehole pic.
Because it's disgusting.
Yeah, because it's like, that's the, like, because I always think when people mention, like, celebrities in that, and they go, oh, you know, like, they almost refer to celebrities as a god, almost like not human. I always say, if you ever think like that, just imagine them sat on the toilet wiping their ass, and any delusions that they're somehow better than you and that they're not a human being disappear. They're just like the rest of us.
Right.
And to put yourself in that
The
position...
less cruder version. Like,
yeah, but like, the point is, it's kind of a... There's no room for humility there. It's something that everybody does, but we don't want to see. You know what I mean? And it's like, to do that, there's something not quite right. But yet, what I will say is a slight not counter, but how many predators mention the toilet thing and the pissing and shitting and all that? Let's not go there. And it's not even fucking mentioned.
Yeah. No.
Another clue about the importance of him showing his dick, and Andrew, what you said about it really being his only sexual outlet, is when he starts getting upset with a catfish about, let's say, Jeffrey, for instance. He will be more upset that Jeffrey would be on video or on the phone using his modes of communication and his modes of getting information over to him, like photographs. If Jeffrey showed her his dick, he would be more upset about that than if Jeffrey actually slept with him, because this is my theory. That's encroaching on his realm. His realm is to show dick pics. His realm is to have phone sex. Anybody who's in their real life, he's put up with all these people who have touched his girl or whatever in real life, allegedly. But once they cross the line and do what he does, that's what makes him really upset.
Yeah. That is interesting that he considers phone sex like real sex.
How could he not? That's all he knows.
I'm going to get laid. I'm going to call Emma and get laid.
Yes, and he's screaming at one of the girls. I can't remember which one it was. You phone fucked him. How many times have you phone fucked him?
That's his kingdom.
As far as cheating goes, I don't know.
Isn't it funny, Andrew?
It's just I love listening to Amanda James's reactions to Lorne. And she's just going, ugh. Like, she just finds it so repulsive. It's so funny.
I liked her sing-song voice before. What are you going to do?
I don't know what
Can you do that again, Andrew? That's it.
That's a good one.
Anyway, we're gonna have to. I don't know. We're gonna have to wrap it up. Yeah, soon, because it's getting late.
Okay.
And it's funny. We've not even. Huh?
Did we cover the topic?
Not really.
No.
Well, yeah, kind of. We were talking about his delusion. I mean, it all goes back to...
We're no closer to the truth, though.
Which makes it a wide open area, though, if you talk about his delusion.
He's delusional because he suspends his disbelief because he is desperate. He's desperate for it to be real. It all goes back to his desperation.
But does like I said, very quick, I'm going to end up talking myself into staying on longer, is like when he gets mad at the Jeffrey thing, surely at that point, if he was suspending his disbelief, that would be a good point to unsuspend it. You know what I mean? And maybe he does when he puts the phone down.
He can't. It's a male, and he's threatened, and they're, like Shin said, encroaching on his territory. You're my fucking woman. He can't think rationally.
Yeah, like another guy, he can't steal his girl unless they have the relationship that he has with them. Like, he didn't mind Ramona had a boyfriend in real life, but if she was having phone sex with another internet guy, he'd have a problem with that. He'd break up with her.
That's funny that you say that, because when he was in those post Ramona breakup calls, he said, "Is there anybody else but me?" And he's like, "Besides Corey, besides your boyfriend, is there anyone else besides me?" Like, asking her if she's talking to other guys online.
Right.
Are you no?
Right.
Are you catfishing anybody else? No, that must mean you really like me. That's his logic.
Right.
Well, right. The question is, who cares? She has a boyfriend, like a boyfriend who lives with her. Who cares if she's talking to other
He's
dudes
touching her.
online? Lauren, the fuck
Yeah.
on.
That's what I mean. That's his world. That's where his security is. That's where, outside of that, he wouldn't know what to do. He doesn't want a catfish to come and live with him. He wouldn't know what to do with the first hour.
He thinks he does, dude. He's
He
always
thinks he
chasing
does.
that. He's
Nah,
always chasing that
nah.
thing in the future, which is what guys do. And people generally do. We're always chasing something that we can't really obtain. We think that something's going to bring us happiness and contentment without realizing the only place it can be found is here and now in the present moment. And anything else you do, if you're chasing it, you'll never get it. And that's where he's stuck. You know, as a lot of us have fallen prey to that with the romantic attachments. It's, you know, but
Well,
sorry, quick point before I have
always
to.
yeah, super quick. He always wants these women to come move in with him directly. He never just wants to date somebody like a normal person, like start out slowly dating and then move in and then get married and then have children. You know, the normal sort of sequence of events that most people go through. He wants them to come move into that trailer immediately. Like the first time they meet, the first time they even see each other's faces.
Yeah, but
And
he does
it's
that.
fun.
He has that accelerated pace for everything, especially about emotions. You know, it's not
Right.
like if he is catching his catfish cheating on him with someone else, he wouldn't say, "Are you fucking him?" That wouldn't bother. He would go right into, "So you're in love with him, or you want to spend the rest of your life with him?" He doesn't understand the casual nature of some relationships.
No,
You
you're
know,
right.
he jumps right to the extremes. You know,
Well,
do you want
it
to
makes
spend the rest of your life with him? Is that what you want? No, I just want to fuck him tonight. Is that okay?
I mean,
He doesn't understand that.
no, he doesn't. Everything's in love and, you know, together
Yeah.
forever and all that, like
Yeah.
mushy stuff. He's like a teenage girl. But he wants to live with a woman immediately, but he has never like cohabitated with a girlfriend ever in his
No.
life.
No.
Not only would he not be able to
Consistent.
live with someone, he wouldn't even be able to function in seeing someone once a week or once a fortnight. He just any kind of one-to-one interaction with a normal human would fail. He's got no
I think
skills.
he would just munkle on to that poor woman, just wrap his body around her leg like he did to his sister when he was 11. And that poor woman would just
At
be
11.
trapped there for at 11, yeah. He would just wrap himself around the woman and cry all day and night.
If you think Lorne has nothing to say now, when he's left to his own devices to initiate a conversation or keep one going, you know, it's always, you know, what time do you get up? What are you doing? You know, things like that. Imagine if you were with him in real life every fucking day. He doesn't want that kind of pressure.
You know what he would do? He would just he'd repeat the Bunky story, the mac and cheese story.
Yeah. Yeah.
He would just repeat those stories all day long, every day. And that poor woman would probably drown herself in his toilet to make it end.
Imagine waking up in the morning and smelling coffee and cigarettes and seeing him walk out with his Crocs and shorts on.
Oh, he's naked in his trailer at all times. So
I'd like to dress up as a woman just to experience that for a few days. As long as I didn't have to actually, like, you know, do anything. I could look at him and stuff, but as long as there was no like physical stuff.
Just get a wig, Andrew. He'd probably fall for it. He's fallen for it. Why wouldn't he fall for that?
Or I could just... Oh, never mind. I was going to say, nobody wants to hear that. Right, okay. So, I'm going to have to wrap it up. So, thanks, everybody, for coming back a second time. Apologies for my internet outage. I am suing the internet company for 80 million, so if that comes back, we're quit, you know... I'm sure we can get it sorted then, maybe. I don't know, maybe. But anyway, so thanks for joining. It's been quite a bit of fun. Even if we've not come to any substantial conclusions, we've still had fun, and that's what it's all about, really. So thank you very much to my very good friends Amanda James and Shins Koala. We will be back soon, I would imagine, at some point. When Shin's not got his sexy umpire pants on, we will do another stream.
Yes, my man. Andrew, do you think would you be interested in hearing in the comments about some of these subject matters we want to tackle? What people might be interested in? Is he a stalker? Is he an incel? Things like that.
Yes, in the comments, guys. Anything specific that you think would be a good thing for us to discuss, where everybody can get involved? Just mention it in the comments of the video after it's been recorded, because I can't read them all now. So. Yeah, anything that you think would be interesting, that'd be good. Not that you asked that question, dude. It's almost like
we have so many subjects. But
yeah, it's almost like you think that we're drying up in material. I can assure you that
no,
that'll
we're
never
not.
happen.
We can't even finish what we start.
No, we've not even done the chat log in about 3 months.
True.
Huh?
I said they might give us a good idea that we haven't thought of.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many that if there's something that pops up that we think, oh, yeah, that's brilliant, we'll definitely do that. But the Stalker one's good. I think Cornville Three Ways has just said that. And thanks for the kind words, everybody. And no one slagged me off for my internet outage yet. Anyway, so I appreciate that. But anyway,